Today on Working Webware, Web 2.0 Office software in the enterprise. Can startup Zoho take on giants Microsoft and Google with its suite of Office apps? We talked to the company's CEO, Sridhar Vembu.
We are back, and now we're going to talk about our impressions of Zoho, what we heard from Sridhar. And Rafe, is this a company you think has got a lot of chance for success?
First of all, let me say I'm really glad we asked Sridhar to leave the room at this point. You know, I like what this company's doing. They're everything that webware is supposed to be, right? And their apps are pretty good, but I don't know if they can make it. 450,000 users, which is what he has right now, is a drop in the bucket compared to what the big guys have.
I tend to agree with a lot of that. And I also think that they've been very ambitious and industrious with those applications.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this company is doing a lot of the right thing.
I think they have to find a way to make the breakthroughs that they have, which is they've been first in a lot of categories in terms of developing these cloud applications. But as we've said, the window is closing.
Well, that makes sense. We'll see if they make it.
Over the next 2 decades, Rafe and Dan continued to follow this little company's journey as it grew to serve over 100 million users, built a product suite unmatched in the industry, stayed in business for more than 25 years, valued at over $1 billion, but remained bootstrapped and highly profitable. This company is Zoho, and this is our story. Zoho. The name means different things to different people. For many, it's just a business app. For some, it's the name of the company that discovered their talent and gave them an opportunity. But for a select few, it's more than just an organization. It's an institution. Beyond its world-class products, it has a story, a philosophy, a vision, and a mission. And we are here to explore them all. In 1995, San Diego, California. It had everything the 90s had to offer. Baggy clothes, computers, and most importantly, the internet.
The information superhighway.
It is called internet.
We've all got electronic mail addresses linked to the internet.
And with the internet came the dot-com bubble that was blowing up. The world was just going crazy about anything that had a .com added to it.
ShopVX.com.
TheNewBeefsteak.com.
GamePace.com.
GameMusic.com. CatchAjob.com.
If you're a computer science engineer or in the tech business, you had a lot of opportunities to make it big in America. And these opportunities were readily available to 2 brothers from India, Sridhar Vembu and Kumar Vembu, who had joined as computer engineers in Qualcomm, a company that was about to make it big in the dot-com bubble. For a lot of Indians, this would mean that they have made it in life. But the Vembu brothers were different. They were not after white-collar jobs and US citizenships. They were after something else, something that had to do with their home country, India. India is home to over 1 billion people. It is recovering from its tragic colonial past, but it has a lot of potential to become a global superpower. A lot of Indians who live abroad dream about doing something to help their home country, and the Vembu brothers were no different. They used to talk a lot about doing something back in India, something to address a specific problem that they had recognized early on.
One thing that my brother and I would talk about a lot is wherever we go, we find made in Taiwan, even made in China. We never find anything made in India, in America, right? Nothing made in India. It's not true now so much, but it was true 25 years ago. It's absolutely true. Wherever you travel, you will not find anything made in India, right? Outside India.
This always disappointed the Vembu brothers. It wasn't just the disappointment of not seeing their home country's name on a fancy gadget. Rather, it hinted at a much larger problem. You see, India, despite having millions of engineering graduates and dozens of top universities, has somehow remained an import-dependent nation for technology. From cars to computers, India relies on one thing: import. While her Asian counterparts like Japan, South Korea, and China have created world-class tech brands like Honda, Sony, Samsung, and Xiaomi, there hasn't been a single tech company from India that has managed to become a global brand. India relies heavily on other countries for its consumer products, infrastructure, and medical and military technology. This lack of self-reliance is a big problem for a country like India because it simply shows that India has not been able to grow its manufacturing sector to fulfill its technology needs, employ its people, and export valuable products to other countries. However, this wasn't always the case. In the historical novel The Talisman by Walter Scott, an imagined encounter unfolds between two iconic figures of the Third Crusade: King Richard I and Sultan Saladin in the Holy Land. In this narrative, Richard demonstrates the purported superiority of European weaponry by effortlessly cleaving through a thick iron bar with his broadsword, while Saladin, unmoved, showcases the remarkable sharpness of his Damascus steel sword by slicing a silk handkerchief into ribbons. This dramatic encounter was entirely fictional. Richard and Saladin never met each other in reality, and English swords were incapable of cutting through solid iron bars. However, the reference to Damascus steel was not entirely fictional. In the ancient world, Damascus steel was renowned for its exceptional quality, capable of maintaining extremely sharp cutting edges unmatched by any other steel of its time. Weapons forged from other steels could easily chip, shatter, and bend, but the Damascus steel remained resilient. Contrary to what the name denotes, this advanced ancient metal was not produced in Damascus, but in ancient India. India was the only place where this advanced metal was produced and exported all over the world. The high carbon content in these steels could be compared to the advanced composite materials produced through modern scientific methods today. Now, cut to 2024. Let's go to a website that sells scissors. On their FAQ section, they have a question on various qualities of steel for making scissors. It talks about how the steel made in Japan is the best of all, while Korean, Taiwanese, and Chinese steel are good enough. About India? Well, here is what they have to say. Pakistani and Indian steels are the poorest quality and do not sharpen or hold an edge. This is the state of Indian metallurgy today. From being at the pinnacle of technological advancement, producing the metal known for its ability to hold extremely sharp edges, to not being able to produce steel that is good enough to make a pair of scissors, India seems to have lost its position as a global leader in technology. This could partly be due to its colonial subjugation and exploitation, followed by a lack of pressure to innovate and compete on global markets. The problem is not that India imports most of the technology. Rather, the problem is the inability to export anything in return that is of equal technological value.
In other words, we cannot just sell rice and buy smartphones. That will create a problem. Because it's also, what about the kids who are scientifically or technologically oriented? Are they only supposed to grow rice? Or are they supposed to migrate to places where they will talk about smartphones? So that is why we have to build those capabilities.
The lack of these capabilities hinders India's ability to be self-reliant and trade on equal terms.
The trading on equal terms is a very important idea. It means that if we want to buy MRI machines or smartphones, we are able to produce not those same things, but equivalent complexity goods and services. That's an important idea. For example, the oil exporting countries, mostly only export oil and import everything else. And then when oil prices crash, their economy is going to a tailspin. In fact, all of those countries, for example, the Middle Eastern countries are trying to diversify their economic base for this very reason. And diversifying means more symmetry, meaning we buy complicated goods and we have to be able to sell some complex goods. That's needed absolutely in India. So this does not lead to self-sufficiency. It leads to self-reliance, which is a more important goal.
Not being able to trade on equal terms and not being self-reliant are big problems for a country like India, which has a population of over 1 billion people. Because this means that a huge chunk of the population's engineering and manufacturing potential remains untapped, thus rendering many unemployed too.
We are a country of vast talent. Most of it is still waiting to be tapped. And this was even more so, true in the 90s.
The Vembu brothers recognized this problem early on, and they used to have many conversations about it until one fine day.
One day, suddenly my brother said, I'm going to go back to India and we'll set up. Just like that. He said, enough talking, I'm going to do it.
Kumar Vembu was on a plane to India. The vision was to develop products in India that were technologically advanced and good enough to be exported globally. An ambitious project for sure, but luckily he wasn't alone.
Around the same time, my brother Shekhar had started a PhD program in Rochester. He joined with a full scholarship. He tells the prof, in 3 months, I'm going back to India. And then I met Tony. This is probably early 96.
Okay.
And that's when I linked Kumar and Tony. Yeah. That's how it started.
I was in New Jersey and we had Kumar, Shailesh, Shekhar all in Chennai. And Kumar was the one building the team in India and, hiring the right kind of talent. As I mentioned, all of us were engineers, very focused on building product, creating technology.
We thought of it as a long journey of development, taking part in the development journey of our country itself.
With a burning passion and persevering patience, the founding team set out to do something that will materialize their vision, building a brighter future for their country through indigenous technological development.
Why did I become a businessman? I actually did because I saw that our fundamental challenge of India is creating jobs and creating incomes and lifting our people out of poverty.
With a global Indian brand, India could trade on equal terms, become self-reliant in technology, and tap into its population's engineering and manufacturing potential.
I'll tell you this, if Indian products are the best in the world, India will not be a poor country. Our country today imports a lot of critical technologies. If we learn how to make those and we make them to high quality, we will no longer be poor.
For many Indians, it would seem absurd to quit your job and return home to India to do something for your country. And with no investment, no real business experience, this really was a risky move for them. They now have to make something that is good enough to start a business with and export it globally. They didn't know what they should make or how they were going to make it, but they knew one thing for sure. Whatever they make, it has to be made in India and made for the world.